Podcasts.
5 Live Boxing.
I'm back in Saudi Arabia. Now, I've done 2 massive world heavyweight title fights here. They were rematches. Revenge was on the menu. They were enormous. Well, this fight is between a man that's had 8 fights and a man that's had 6 fights. And it's generating the same type of publicity. It's generating the same kind of buzz here in Saudi Arabia. It is quite ridiculous. It's Jake Paul against Tommy Fury. And it might just be the oddest main event I have ever covered. I'm Steve Bunce, and this is 5 Live Boxing, coming to you from Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. So welcome to Riyadh. The fight takes place in Diriyah, a couple of miles from where we're standing. We're inside this ballroom, a fancy ballroom inside one of the fancy hotels. And right now it's the face-off. There's Tommy Fury in a black singlet. His father, Gypsy John, is behind him. And there's Jake Paul. They're face-to-face now. They've just done a deal on the stage and shaken hands. And the deal is simple. Jake Paul, as the promoter, will pay Tommy Fury twice what he's agreed if Fury wins. However, if Fury loses, Jake Paul will not pay him a penny. They've shaken hands on that. They've agreed to that. There's a lawyer floating around with a new contract in his hand. And these two, meanwhile, are face-to-face. They're talking to each other. It's an extraordinary fight. I've been talking about this for 2 years. 2 absolute novices topping the bill and splitting somewhere in the region of about $10 million. They're laughing now, they're joking now, they're goading each other, and in the middle of them is the event promoter, Derek Chisora.
February 26th in Diriyah.
The face-off's over. The 2 boxers have gone somewhere else. I'm now up on the stage with the event promoter, old friend of mine, known here in Saudi as Sheikh Derek, known to me as Derek Delboy Chisora. Del, what's happening? How have you ended up being the promoter of this event?
I tell you, I must be the broker sheikh in Saudi, bro.
The broke sheikh.
The broke sheikh. Call me the broke sheikh in Saudi, Derek Chisora from Saudi.
So how did it come to be that you're not just involved, you're really involved?
I want to explain something to you.
Yes.
Me and Prince Khalid, we're brothers. We are brothers. I got enough respect for Prince Khalid. He loved me from when we met. You know, we didn't talk to each other, but we had enough respect for each other by just looking at each other. You understand?
Absolutely.
I don't approach him like everybody else. I don't him.
Yeah.
I'm more straight with him.
Yeah.
And one day he goes to me, I want you to come and skill challenge and just help us out a little bit. I'm like, yes, I will. And I came. And I'm here.
So you've been behind this. You've been part of this. Derek, this is something that started off as, you know, an odd thing, a joke, but it's no comedy. This is an enormous, massive event. It's an enormous event.
It's a massive event, but I want to tell you something. Prince Khalid, they know exactly what fights they want. That is it. They want their fights. They know what they want, and they know exactly what they want to pay for.
This is going forward now that they're going to become promoters, global promoters.
Yeah, this is going forward. This is 100%. And I say to all those promoters, put your fighters in good contracts, because if you don't, I'm going to approach them.
And were you influential in bringing this actual fight here, Jake Paul?
No.
But now it's here, Derek. It's become a fight it's a real fight. I know it's 2 novices, but it's a real fight.
It's a real fight. It's a buzzing fight. It's a buzzing fight.
You know, this is a tricky fight. It's a hard fight for both of them because neither of them know how to lose and neither of them expect to lose. What do you see being the factor once it starts on Sunday in Diriyah?
We don't know yet, but whatever happens is going to be amazing.
And is that its attraction, the fact that we don't know?
Yes.
It's a genuine 50-50.
Yes.
Now, Derek, when you were up there, you were close to them. Could you get any sense of how the 2 of them were? You were there when they were doing the face-off.
Always relaxed.
And
Tommy's fighter.
Tommy's fighter. And also, beforehand, there was half an hour here this afternoon, or a bit earlier, where you were sitting next to Mike Tyson, and he was talking about the event. You know, he is, you know, a man whose opinion on fighters is fantastic. Was he sharing anything with you about the 2 of them?
I say to him, I was like, it's hard to leave the game. He goes, bro, you don't understand. He goes, sometimes when I get high, I just want to come back in the game. I'm like, you miss those days when they knock on your door and say, 5 minutes. He goes, oh, man.
Is it hard to leave the game, though?
It's hard. Man.
Have you left the game now?
No, I haven't.
You're just having a bit of a reprieve here.
No. Don't worry. Certain things are happening soon.
So, Derek, what do you think going to happen? Your experience. What do you think is going to happen? First bell Sunday night in Diriyah. What's your gut feeling, Derek?
All I can say to those at home in London, delicious. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it might very well be. And so, will we see more of you, Sheikh Derek, as the promoter?
You'll see more of me, and big things are coming.
And you might actually, and you're going to fight again.
Yes, sir.
You're going to be fighting out here in Saudi.
I don't know, but it don't matter. I like to fight anyway. I'll get paid.
Sheikh Derek, Del Boy Chisora, Derek Chisora, whatever it is.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
So that's Derek. He's wandered off, the enigmatic Derek Del Boy Chisora, or Sheikh Derek as they repeatedly called him here. He's got on full, traditional, and at the same time fairly gorgeous Saudi Arabian thobe with full headset, everything. He's done up. He's dressed accordingly. He's dressed brilliantly, and he's conducted himself, for Derek Chisora, brilliantly. I'll let you in a secret. Before the press conference started, I said to Derek, listen, Derek, I'll talk to you after the press conference just in case anything happens and they start throwing tables. Of course, that's one of his tricks. And he said, I hope they do. Not only did they not throw tables, I can tell you now that everyone was well behaved. And Gypsy Johnny Fury, that was his fighting name, the father of both Tyson Fury and of course, the father of Tommy Fury, he actually joked, he said, I've worked more on my manners than I have on the tactics for this fight. Now, before the press conference started, I went up to catch hold of Tommy Fury, and the first thing I asked him when I sat down with him in his hotel suite was how his newborn baby and the mother of his baby were doing.
Everything is perfect, thank you, Steve. Really appreciate you asking.
Missing them?
Like hell, like crazy. Missing them like crazy. But I'll be back there soon enough. Monday afternoon, I'll be back in the UK, back reunited with the family.
Well, that's the soft stuff. This fight is finally happening. Did you think it was gone? Had you given up on it over the last 18 months, 2 years, Tommy?
I didn't really, I wasn't really, thinking about that like that. Like, oh, it's my only golden opportunity. No, it's not. Like, it's, I was always going to headline my own card, whether it be now or later. It didn't really matter to me. Because when you got self-belief and confidence in your ability, this stage was always going to come for me. But I'm happy it's come off. I'm happy to be here in Saudi Arabia. What a feeling at 23.
Yeah, what a feeling at 23. When you got together on the night that Yard fought Beterbiev, did you sense something in the ring? Because I got this feeling you were seeing something. Like you were saying to people, I've looked in his eyes. Could you get that sense, Tom?
Yeah, 100%. Like anybody knows, when you look in a man's eyes, you can see if they're a fighter or not. And you can see if they want it or not. And I looked in his eyes in the ring. He didn't want it. He was too busy looking at the shape of me than looking in my eyes. He was either looking past me, down, or looking everywhere apart from my face. He is no fighter. At the end of the day, I always said this. If he was in a car park, no cameras around, he'd offer a handshake. Can we forget about it? That's the type of guy he is.
So he hasn't got that fighting history, that fighting pedigree that you've got. So even if you didn't have 250 amateur contests, you were still in those gyms. And as people keep reminding me, there's little Tommy, look in the background there. Look, there he is. Look, there's when he's 15. There's when he's 16. So you've been around. It's part of, I use the word, it's part of your culture.
Yeah, definitely. It's part of me, and what's in you will come out of you. I've been around these gyms since I've been 8 and 9 and 10. I've seen my dad train, seen Tyson train, sparred with Tyson, sparred all these great fighters. I live and breathe this. This is my life. It always has been. I've not just done this 3 years ago for a hobby because I enjoy it. I've not done it because, it makes good money. I enjoy it because it's my passion. It's my life.
You could have made more money elsewhere, couldn't you, Tom?
Yeah, definitely.
In the last 2 years, especially.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's boxing is good money. I get paid good money for it. I get good money out the ring on Instagram. I'm in a win-win position. And I'm very grateful for that. I thank God every day for what I've got. But at the end of the day, my passion is boxing.
Now, it might not be steeped in boxing. It might not be where he's come from, and he might not have been around it since he was 6, 7, 8 years of age. But do you believe he's a better fighter now than he was when there was first talk 18 months, 17, 8. Do you think he's a better fighter now?
I don't. I think he's actually got worse because when you're not a boxer and you try to be a boxer, I think it goes against you. He's going to come out timid, whatever, because when he gets a jab straight between the eyes and he gets busted up off the jab alone, and he doesn't even know what the right hand yet, I don't see him going past 4 rounds. I don't see him going past the first round. Honestly, he's dug himself a deep hole here.
So some of these fights he's having where he's going the distance with, old experienced, old UFC guys, tough old boys, I think we can call them. You're not seeing an improvement in Jake Paul with those distance fights.
No, definitely not. At the end of the day, he's been the distance with the 48-year-old man. That's terrible. That's god awful. Like how? Forget what Anderson Silva's done in the past. Yeah, a great competitor, but he's 50.
Yeah.
He's 50 and he's not no Floyd Mayweather. Like, that was his first boxing match. What? I don't even know what I'm talking here, but the guy can't fight, and I'm going to expose it on Sunday night.
And you really believe, because I've met people that have trained with him and sparred with him, people that have got no bone to pick, people that are just half decent fighters, and they always talk about how hard he trains and how devoted he is. I know it's playing catch up, but they always talk about that.
You can train as hard as you want. You can do whatever you want. You can diet right. You can train right. You can look good, but you haven't got the experience. And that's a big telling point in this fight. Experience is what matters, and I have a lot more than that than him.
So when you're preparing a camp, Tom, you said the camp's gone really well, and it looks like it's gone really well. When you're preparing a camp, are you for preparing for Jake Paul? Are you looking at young kids who are really fast, or seasoned older hands, or a mixture of both? Was there a sort of specialist line?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. We've got people who boxes like Jake Paul, to a T. We've had speed in the camp, we've had power in the camp, we've had heavier guys, shorter guys, taller guys, whatever you want. We've had everything for this camp. We've left no stone unturned, and I'm more than ready for this guy on Sunday night.
Have you enjoyed it being, not the centre of attention, but the camp being for you? Because, obviously you train for all of the fights that you've had, obviously you do. But this one is about you. The focus is on you. You're in a massive fight. There's posters of you everywhere. You're in a city. It's a buzz in the Middle East. Have you kind of liked that, Tom?
Yeah, definitely. It's absolutely amazing. But like I said before, this big stage was made for me. Being a boxer, we dream of nights like this. I'm 23 years old. I'm headlining my own card in Saudi Arabia. It's a massive, massive fight. We're going to have A-list celebrities ringside. What more could I ask for? And especially to get an opponent like Jake Paul. Thank God I haven't got a Russian who's 30-0 with 30 knockouts. I've got Jake Paul to look good on. I've won the lottery, haven't I?
We can fight the Russians. We can fight the Russians. Do you feel that way sometimes, that you've won the lottery? Because you're a good-looking kid who's floating through. You go on that program. It turns things around. You end up with your partner. Then you start fighting. Then this happened. Then that happens. It's like, from the moment when you're in Dusseldorf, was you 15 or 16 then? 15. You're a 15-year-old kid in the back. There's, one of about 7 or 8 people floating around the hotels, probably sleeping 6 to a room, if I'm not mistaken, at least. Yeah, that's the way it works. Because Tyson would have only had 3 or 4 rooms given, and there's at least 15 of you, and your dad's only going to share of himself, isn't he? For God's sake. Yeah. So, and here we are. It's not that long ago, Tom, is it?
No, definitely not. My life has changed, in the blink of an eye. I tell everybody that what's happened to my life, you can't explain it. I blinked my eyes one day, I had nothing, get in the bus, had nothing in my pocket, clothes with holes in it, and then blinked my eyes again, I'm here. I don't know what's going on. I've just taken everything in my stride. Thank God every single day. And I'm taking it all in my stride.
Did you think that you'd be somebody? That suggests you were nobody. But when you're 15, 16, especially when you get a little glimpse of it, let's say that trip to Dusseldorf when Tyson beat Vladimir to win the world titles, did you think that one day I'll be something or somebody?
So this is the thing, I always tell everybody, ever since I was born, ever since I was going to school and doing whatever I was doing, I always knew I'd be something. I always knew I'd be successful. And I always knew I'd achieve my dreams. And the fact that that's all come to fruition now, it's just made my self-belief times 100. I believe that if I put my mind to anything, I could accomplish it. Because look at me. If you looked at me at 15, you would have never said I was going to be in this position in a few years' time. But now look.
Now, he was also a devoted person. He's devoted to his trade, his craft, whatever influencer, YouTuber. Tom, I'm going to hold my hands up. I can't keep up with whatever it is he's meant to be. So if I say something wrong, correct me. So whatever he's meant to be. No, but he works 24/7 at that game, doesn't he?
This is it. I'm sure he's worked hard. He's worked diligently on whatever he's doing, like you say, the influence in YouTube, whatever it is. But I've been working hard all my life on boxing. All my life. And on Sunday night, we're boxing. We're not doing influencer. We're not creating YouTube content. We're fighting. And I've done that for my whole life.
When you start the fight, Tom, against him, I don't know if you're a kind of fighter that visualises fights. Do you visualise being left alone with him as the bell sounds, first round, referee backs away, and you two are facing each other? Do you go through that in your mind? Because Josh Warrington does massively. He visualises everything from getting out of bed in the morning, going to the venue. Do you do that, Tommy?
Yeah, I mean, I visualise, of course. And I visualised this fight 100 times, and I've seen him hit the canvas 100 times. And on fight night, it will be no different. When that bell goes, I'm coming for war. I'm game. I'm ready. I am a fighter, and he's going to feel that.
Now, I was talking to, or not, I read something your father wrote. He said, you know what, I can see my Tommy and Jake being friends afterwards, shaking hands, like not just shaking hands, but being friends. And of course, there's a bizarre relationship going on at the moment between his brother Logan and KSI, former opponents who didn't like it. Could you see yourself being friends with Jake, bringing out a drink in 2 years' time?
I mean, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. I mean, he's not the type of guy that I go down to the pub with, I'll tell you that. But listen, after the fight, after he's been knocked out and dealt with, and he knows what the score is, I'll shake his hand and I'll move on. There's no emotion in this fight for me. It's a business fight.
Tom, it's always a pleasure talking to you, and I mean that, son. You're a top boy.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So that was Tommy Fury. Now I'm going to follow out the crowd if I can and grab hold of Tyson Fury, who is surrounded by people. He's just got off a flight. Tyson, thanks for joining us. You heard about the double down bear. How do you think about that?
I think it's fantastic, and someone's going to go on rich and someone's going to go on broke.
You had a look at the two of them up close. What was your gut feeling? Imagine he wasn't your brother. Imagine Tommy wasn't your brother.
Yeah, I 100% think Tommy's going to knock him out.
But you also, Jake was telling me that, you think he can fight as well.
I think he can fight, yeah, but I don't think he can beat a Fury, no.
And what about the condition both John and Tommy are in? They're in great nick, the pair of them.
Yeah, they're looking in good shape, aren't they? Whatever they've been eating, I want some, because I'm not in great shape.
And finally, looking at Tommy there, are you proud of him as a brother?
Proud of him, to come here and see all this big main event, big posters, Saudi Arabia, big event, very, very proud of him. I remember Tommy telling me when he was 11 years old that he wanted to be a boxer and he wanted to be a high profile, and he said to me, well, it's probably going to be unlikely because lightning doesn't strike twice in one family. I said, Tommy, it does. And he always believed in himself. And here he is today, on the brink of making millions of dollars, and double millions if he wins, or when he wins. And fantastic achievement.
And finally,
he only had 9 fights.
And finally, he was just 15 in the ring in Dusseldorf, just a wide-eyed kid behind you.
Yeah, and now he's here on his own big stage, so it's fantastic. I'm very, very proud of him. I'm looking forward to the fight. Whatever happens tomorrow, obviously Tommy will win, but there's no hard feelings with Jake Paul and his family because I think they're good entertainers and it's exciting to watch. And I'm the king of trash talk, so to see these guys going at it as well, it's really good, refreshing to boxing.
Thanks very much, Tyson. Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. So that was Tyson Fury talking there as he left. He's only literally just got off a plane. But having spoken to his brother Tommy in a hotel room, I also made the short journey across town to an extremely fancy hotel. Went up to the 44th floor. It was absolutely fabulous to sit down with Jake Paul. And the first thing I had to remark on was just how glorious the view was.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. It's an honor to be here. It's crazy being from Cleveland, Ohio, and now on the other side of the world, putting on massive events.
You've been putting on some events for a while now. Earlier when I spoke to Tommy Fury, unbelievably confident, game plan, fight head on, the best camp he's ever had. Have you heard it all before?
Yeah, I've heard it all before. I'm ready, prepared. People around the camps too who visit and are like, this person's gonna win. There's no way this person can't beat Jake Paul. I've seen it all before, heard it all before in a very short run here in boxing. And look, I've said I hope he had a great camp. I hope he took this seriously because that's gonna make the fight last a couple more rounds versus it just being a blowout victory. I wish him the best. I hope that he's delusionally confident because at the end of the day, none of that really matters. I know what I'm capable of and I know what I'm going to do, and it's going to be a fun fight. But whatever he thinks, whatever he feels, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, the better man will win.
On the subject of delusion, Jake, are you not upset, but Are you surprised that they still, all of them, so that's Gypsy Johnny Fury, former pro, Tyson Fury, world heavyweight champion, Sugar Hill Stewart, Andy Lee, former world champions, great trainers, Tommy himself. Are you surprised that they still are just reluctant to give you any credit as a boxer? Does it shock you? Because it shocks me, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, no, but I think the leader of the family and the smart one in the family and the successful one in the family is Tyson Fury. And guess what? He's given me the credit. He's befriended me. He said that I'm a good boxer and all of these things, and have given me way more credit than the dad and Tommy. And it seemed to me that he has removed himself from their whole camp. He wasn't really like as involved. I think he's reluctant to even say that Tommy is going to win. He's clearly taken an unbiased sort of point of view. He's like, yeah, I want Tommy to win, but he won't say that he actually is going to win.
He's actually said something like, it won't be easy. Because he talked to you, didn't he? Bumped into you at Wembley, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And there was that odd moment when none of us knew what was going to happen. In the end, he gave you a warm embrace and praised you.
Yeah, and I think he sees it and is smart enough to understand the matchup, is smart enough to understand that Tommy's never gone 8 rounds. He's never fought someone real. They've all been people who were put in there to lose with not any knockout power. He's got a lot of holes in his game, lacks head movement, doesn't have good defense, gets tired easily. I think Tyson sees all of these things and sees what I do well and has given me the credit. But I do think that seriously the dad and Tommy are hyper delusional. They think that Anderson Silva is just some scrub and just some old guy. And I think that's what they're really, really banking on. They think that they think that it was staged, all of these things. And I seriously think they believe that, and to me, it's crazy, but that's not my problem.
See, back in September or November, October 2021, when we sat in a room about this high in Las Vegas and had a chat about a fight that was just about to collapse with Tommy, back then, you'd kept a lot of what you do secret. But since then, a lot of it's leaked out, i.e. that you import sparring training partners from Miami, stuff like that. So now they've got that information, and they're still sticking with he plays at the game, he's not a real fighter.
It's stupid. It's really stupid, and it's going to come to bite them in the ass on Sunday. I have the ace up my sleeve, and it's going to be a rude awakening for both the dad and for Tommy. I think especially for Tommy. You know, he doesn't know what he's getting himself into. It's a world of hurt. This is the hurt business. It's an unforgiving game. And after Sunday, he's going to hate the sport, man. The money might soothe it over. But,
happy landing.
But he's going to hate those moments when he is in there with me and he is not able to escape what he knows is about to happen once he feels those punches coming at him.
Let me ask you this, and I appreciate your time. I know how busy you are and the commitments you have. How many rounds of sparring have you done? And also, when did you hit your weight? When did you arrive at whatever weight it is you've got to be when you jump on the scales?
Yeah, I think we did 110 rounds. BJ, what was it? 95, 110 rounds, 95, something like that. For this camp specifically. And then hit my weight, I believe, what day is it? On Sunday and Monday. And so I was able to have some pasta and some whipped cream and fruit and all that stuff. So everything's good, man. Everything is good. I'm a pro at this, and it's like clockwork now with all these things.
And fine, as we move towards getting closer to the fight, what does Tommy do particularly well? I know he's only an 8-fight novice, but you're only a 6-fight novice. But you do certain things well. What does he do particularly well?
Yeah, he's a good boxer, man. I think everyone thinks that I'm talking and like saying he's not good. That's not the case. I know he's good. That's why he's 8-0 and gotten this far and is one of UK's top young boxing prospects. So he's a good fighter. He's fast, good combinations. Yeah, just good movement, side to side, fakes, all this stuff. But he's not a great fighter, and he doesn't have that heart and that will, and he's never been battle tested. And so that's really the difference here is me wanting it more. Because at some point during the fight, if it makes it past 4 to 5 rounds, the skill is going to go out the window. That's typically what happens in these sorts of matches, and it's just going to be who wants it more.
Gypsy John said something along the lines of, when it's over, I can see Jake and my Tommy being friends. What do you think about that? Being friends, not just talking, being friends.
Who knows, bro? Who knows? You know, the world is a crazy place. The universe has so many things planned for certain people, and you really never know what's going to happen. But I think that's a sign of weakness. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about the fight and absolutely obliterating this man and ruining his life for a second there, actually. But hey, if he wants to think about friends, that's cool. Let him think about that. But I have plenty of friends, and I certainly don't need another one from the UK named Tommy Fury.
Looking forward to it, Jake.
Very, very forward. Very forward. I wish it was today. I wish it was tomorrow. I wish it was Saturday. But I'm ready. I'm just patiently awaiting.
Now, a good friend of mine, Carl Froch, and he's a lovely man, and he was a good fighter, but he keeps posting stuff about you. Have you seen any of his stuff, or are you too busy watching other stuff?
No, I seen it. I think it's entertaining. I like to feed into those types of things to create more narratives and more storylines, more clicks, and quite frankly, more hype for this fight. He has a massive UK audience, and so I played the game with him. Got him a little amped up so that he
didn't.
Yeah,
I don't believe you for a second.
I'm a sneaky boy. But yeah, it's great. I think I stole his audience, and now they're all gonna tune in rooting for Tommy. So thank you, Carl, for the pay-per-view buys. We appreciate that money. Thank you, man.
Well, it's been a very long day here and an entertaining day here in Riyadh, our first day in Saudi Arabia. Now, after the break, you're going to hear me talking to a man called Mauricio Sulaiman. He's the president of the WBC, and they're in the news. That's coming up after the break.
I just didn't want to let my family down, so that's why Scottish Premier League and everything.
It's going to be a massive event. They're going to get paid an awful lot of money, and there's a fabulous backstory. But there are a couple of other stories floating around in boxing, and the biggest one of them is the decision by the WBC, the World Boxing Council, to basically to exonerate Conor Benn of his 2 doping charges. And that came up about 5 months ago when his fight against Chris Eubank Jr. was cancelled at about 48 hours notice when a positive test emerged, and it turned out to be the second positive test. He left the hotel on that particular day, and no one's really heard from him, but his team did present the WBC with a 270-odd page document, and after about 3 or 4 months, the WBC announced just this week that they'd cleared him to fight. And luckily, out here in Saudi Arabia, is Mauricio Sulaiman, who inherited the WBC from his father, Jose Sulaiman, who ran it from the very early 70s. Yes, that's nearly 50 years of the WBC being owned and run by one family. And I caught up with Mauricio, and the first question I put to him was the simple question: why did the WBC get involved?
No, this is the WBC has the clean boxing program. And we have made a press release, which is very clear, and that's all that we have to say.
But it seems really odd that you are in possession of the 270-page document, and yet the British Boxing Board of Control have not. They say they've not seen it.
Well, I have no comment to that. The WBC had a special panel, and we made a ruling, and that's it.
But I appreciate you being standing like this and taking that stance. But did you reach out to Conor, or did Conor reach out to you, Mauricio? Which way did it work?
No, there's a protocol, and it is online, and I can give you a copy. That'll be very helpful for you to illustrate. It's a protocol that is followed, and that's what happens.
It just seems, because I know the WBC was to your dear father, Jose, and he was a very good man. I had many nights with him in Mexico at different events. The British Boxing Board of Control always backed your father in the 70s and 80s when there was a lot of rivalry between the WBA, WBC. And I just find it really odd that the WBC did not share the documentation with the British Boxing Board of Control.
No, it was an internal WBC process through the clean boxing program. There is no issue. There is no problem with the BBBOC whatsoever.
But it just seems odd that now you have cleared him to fight, but people that you work closely with.
The WBC does not license fighters.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Sanctions events. I'm just still. I would love Conor Benn to be 100% clear. He's great, he's been a great man. He's been great for British boxing. I would love it to be 100% clear. It just seemed really odd that suddenly you guys, the WBC, were in charge of clearing his name.
I think you need to do a little research.
No, I think I've done my research. He's clear to fight by the WBC.
I'm sorry. I'm going to be very honest, and I'm taking this interview with great respect.
Yes, you are, and I appreciate that.
And if you would be kind to read the protocol of the clean boxing program, you will understand the process.
No, I've read through the press release. I understand that.
No,
I just wonder how
the press release is one thing. The protocol, which has been in the WBC webpage, and it's open since 2016.
Yeah, I will take.
Please do so.
Yeah, out of respect for you, I will have a look at that. But I just find it really odd that you are so involved with this, because it wasn't a WBC fight, was it?
No. It's a clean boxing program. It has been in existence since 2016. So please, if you respect the WBC and you're an honorable network, please kindly review it, and then we can talk.
We were a very honorable network, and I do respect it.
Regarding this case, I cannot say anything. We put out the press release. It's out there. I am not a scientist, and just you can do that work.
No, I appreciate you're not a scientist. To me, it's a mystery that the WBC have found themselves so involved in a case that they had nothing to do with at the time, because it was a fight that was under the Board of Control's rules.
This is nothing between WBC and British Boxing Board of Control. Please, I will send you personally the protocol and what the clean boxing program is.
Okay, so we can get that through Geraldine. Okay.
And if you can help us clarify to the public, so there's no confusion.
If I read it and I think it's clear, I will help you. Because what I think it happens is that it seems like the WBC, the most powerful sanctioning body in the world, the one that everyone talks about, the green belt, the most famous one, it seems that you have given him an all clear. And most people in boxing that I've spoken to have no idea how suddenly it's you guys. I mean, if you keep saying protocol, I understand, but it just seems really weird.
Yeah, it's something that you have to get some background and understand what the clean boxing program is, and then you will be very enlightened on.
So anybody who fails a test, even if he or she is not in a WBC fight, they can apply to your clean boxing program, follow the protocol, and if they can be clear, you will clear them.
No. The clean boxing program is mandatory for WBC champions and the top 15 ranked boxers.
Sure.
That is for random out-of-competition testing. So you can be in Japan.
Conor was signed up for that?
Yeah, Conor, when he was ranked, he enrolled, because it's mandatory, otherwise you cannot be ranked.
Sure.
And he enrolled early this year in February, and then he received the test. So. Okay. And that is why the clean boxing program is involved.
Okay, so is it the case that you reach out to him because you're inside our top 15, you've signed up for this protocol, so you therefore have to provide us with your evidence? So is that the way it worked? That
every time
you reach out to them?
When there's an adverse finding, there's a complete protocol. That's the one I'm talking about. There's a thorough investigation of many things, and that's how it works.
Okay, so if you have seen the documentation, or did you leave that with the scientists?
No, it's an incredibly big group: scientists, nutrologists, experts, lawyers. So it's a long process, very clean and very thorough process, and that's a really...
And so are you looking forward to Conor coming back and hopefully fighting for some version of a WBC belt in the future, in an ideal world?
Well, he will be
like
ranked,
his father.
He will be ranked next month. That's what the ruling said and stated. And as I said, we do not license boxers. We
appreciate that.
Fights.
But because of the size of the WBC and the importance of it and the respect it has worldwide, it does send a message to promoters around the world. Look, we can use Conor Benn. He has been cleared by the WBC.
We're not promoters.
No, I know I appreciate that, but you're influential people inside our business.
No, but we just managed a case in the clean boxing program, just as we had hundreds of cases.
Okay, and
there's a track of every single case, how it was. It took the resolution and.
Okay. And final question. On Conor Benn, if I can. The documentation came to you, and can you say or can you reveal has there been any correspondence from the British Boxing Board of Control? Have they said to you, Mauricio, come on, we're old friends, send us a copy?
Well, UCAD reached out and we asked them, sure.
UCAD did.
You share what you have, we share what you have.
And did they share?
No.
So therefore you've kept your copy and they've kept their documentation. Okay, which is possibly not good, because it would be nice if we could go into an area and talk off the record, and you guys could deal. It'd be nice. In an ideal world.
In an ideal world, there would be reciprocity and work together. There have been cases in the past, and simply it's another agency, different,
Okay.
and you have to understand there's a lot of confidentiality and legality. That maybe that is a reason.
And finally on this one, I'm looking on the outside. I mean, I've been
Final.
Yeah. I do 3 finals. Now this is the final one on this. It has caused a lot of consternation. People upset. People saying it's not a great idea. People attacking the WBC. People attacking people like me, for journalists, for not attacking you. I don't want to attack you on the WBC. You've done too much good work over the years. I want to try and get some answers. But you can see how can you see how it has caused some confusion with people inside boxing?
I can see that, but this is not a popularity contest. It would be very easy to just rule because of popular demand and do the unjust thing. We are here for safety, integrity, honorability, and I feel very proud of the clean boxing program. I feel very proud of BADA and the whole process that they do managing the program, and I feel and I stand very tall.
So that's Mauricio Sulaiman there. Well, not really giving me the answers I wanted, and no matter how many times I asked him, but at least fronting up and not hiding, not vanishing, not disappearing, and not refusing. And just to make it absolutely clear, Conor Benn is not eligible to fight currently in Great Britain, although his promoter Eddie Hearn has admitted that they're looking at other options, as in global options. But he's also said, and this, he said this publicly, that he would prefer it if Conor did fight in the UK. That's going to continue. That's going to run. And thanks again to Mauricio for doing that. Thanks to everybody that's been on this, our first pod from Saudi Arabia. In the week leading up to I almost can't believe I'm saying this, the Jake Paul and Tommy Fury fight. They both had under 10 fights. It's a massive event. It's in the ancient settlement of Diriyah, just on the outskirts of this neon-lit metropolis that is Riyadh. Whew. We're back on Saturday after the weigh-in with another look at this event as the people pour into town. Michael Buffer's about to get off a plane. Mike Tyson's here. Devon Haney's here. And there will be more. What a time to be a boxing fan, and what a place to be a boxing fan. This has been the 5 Live Boxing Podcast with me, Steve Bunce. Thanks for listening. Thanks for taking the time to listen.
Let's get ready to rumble!
5 Live Boxing.